Vivid podcast. My name is Claire Hill. I am a self-belief coach, founder of the Vivid Business Club, and host of the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. I said that so fast. Hold on. I'm really excited. It's a whole day of interviews. Host for the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Before I continue, please go and check and see if you can follow or subscribe. Do you follow or subscribe? If you have had any value from any of these podcasts, think of it as your investment into the podcast by pushing that little button to follow or subscribe. And if you would like to, I've learned that on Apple Podcasts and even Spotify, it's very easy for you to rate the podcast. So go and be a lovely person. You're obviously a lovely person if you don't do that, but I'm just trying to bribe you a little bit. Anyway, the end. Today I have Suze Lake here with me today. Hello, Suze. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me.
I'm very
excited.
I love these days when I just literally interview amazing people all day long. And you'll hear this is your first podcast, so I love it. Love it. By the end, people would be like, that wasn't our first podcast, it was too good. Would you like to introduce yourself? Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do?
So I'm Suze. I'm from Canada, but I live in Norfolk, England, and I've lived here for a long time now. I am a small business owner. This is my second business. And I help other small businesses, mainly with tech and strategy. Kind of the part where they're like, I don't really know which button to press or what I should do here, what I should do there. And if I need to, then I'll do it for them.
Brilliant. So they don't press the big red button in the corner that no one's
Yeah.
allowed to. How did it all begin? What's the business love story?
So I started a different small business about 19 years ago when I had my first child. And I was making and selling products like at village craft fairs, mainly wood. I kind of specialized in Christmas decorations and got to be known for that.
Oh, wow.
And then I sort of worked up the ladder to be from the village hall into like selling at Country Living or really sort of posh craft fairs, really, where you had to be vetted to get in and stuff like that. I'm not one to sort of just stay at one level, I guess. Always tried to achieve.
I love that.
Then in COVID, obviously everybody's business changed, and I started to sort of help people. It was more about like helping other people to craft for mental health, because all over the news then it was just about like you get outside and exercise and do this and like just keep moving and don't sit around. But there's like a whole host of people that actually couldn't move. And to be honest with you, I had a really interesting conversation with my auntie in Canada. We used to talk regularly, and she had really bad legs. So she couldn't go outside for like months because obviously it's icy, and she couldn't hold on to anyone because of the COVID restrictions. So we started crafting together online, and I was helping her. Her everything changed about her because we would have this sort of regular meetup, and then I started helping other people. I thought, there's one person like that, then there must be more. And so I just started doing it for free and just helping people to sort of craft with what they had around their house or cheaply or things like that. And in a way, I kind of fell out of love of selling my own products and fell into love with like helping other people through that. That's how it started, how this business started. What was that I just wanted to help people more. And through that got really handy with the tech because of my own business selling and products and things like that I thought, actually, I love helping people more than I love selling finished product. So
that's such a similar journey to me, because I'm just sort of slowly bowing out of my business Vivid Wire, because making I mean, when you're a maker, aren't you? I don't think I'll ever not be creative and make things. But when I was given the options of like, oh, you can make this commission or you can help somebody make money in their business, I was like, oh, I want to go and help somebody else make loads of money and helping people. It's just a different level, isn't it? And especially if, you know, the same as me, when you've had that journey through having to market and make your own products and going through all of how you do that to then be able to support other people to do it, it's sort of like, it sort of completes the circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And I just feel a lot more fulfilled doing that. Feel like it was kind of like all meant to be, really.
So what do you tell me, like the kind of things that you help your clients with?
So right now, I'm helping a friend of mine who is setting up a sign language course. She's setting up like she does sign language, sorry. Um, she helps newly qualified sign language translators to get into the workforce. So I'm helping her to set up a course with that, just the steps, the baby steps of like doing like a founding member launch and things like that. Because I found that it wasn't just about craft, it's like a little bit about the steps to follow to get your thing out there, whether it's just craft, it's a craft or it's a small business. And then there's like a big gap with like the tech part of like, well, what button do I press on Facebook to get my group up and going? And do I need to set up, I need to set up these guides. And they were like, well, what's a guide in, so I help with that. So she is just, sorry, I got my words all in a muddle there.
Sorry, like honestly, I do this. I get my words in a muddle all the time. You heard me at the beginning. This is why people listen to this podcast, though. So it's real people. Like we're not bullshitters around here. We're not like airy fairy. This is one person. We are all human beings, and just doing it. So don't you worry. My audience probably didn't even notice you fluffed your words. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so I am doing that, helping advising with that. And then I show the actual tiny little baby steps, because sometimes these words which are normal to me and you, like a guide on Facebook, or what is a hashtag, or what is a reel, even things like that, just to some people are just so crazy overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time I ever went on the internet. So I am quite patient with people of saying, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And then there's a lot of people that are just like, you know what, I just don't actually want to do that part. I just want to teach. I just want to do the part that I'm good at. And so they say, can you do that part for me? So I'm not a VA. I'm also not, I'm not just an admin assistant. It's more to working with like a strategy towards to getting the long bit out of like a sort of, I have a process, a 12-week process to to launching your product or your service, and working back into sort of helping them to grow and nurture their audiences and stuff like that. So it does sound really complicated, but I make it really easy for you and keep you to the really tiny baby steps if you get really overwhelmed.
It's like you're a product development consultant or something like that, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I've learned do you know who Amy Porterfield is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's gonna come on this podcast one day because, you know,
Yes. That would be amazing.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But she's recently created a department in her business called the product development department.
Yes.
And I don't think as makers, as online business service providers, any kind of product base, we ever give enough time to the development of a product. So exactly what you're saying, like I've got a course coming up soon called, it's going to be basically about getting your shit together. So you know, people say, oh, everyone looks like they've got their shit together, but really they haven't. It's like, well, actually I have. So I'm going to teach you how to do it too. So I'm going to put this course together. And that course part, the development of the content of the course,
Yes.
I've got that covered. I used to be a teacher. Brilliant, like curriculum-based stuff, love it. But what people forget about is the list building activities to get people to know about that. course,
Yeah.
designing the freebies to link people up to get the right audience in my audit, to get the right people in my audience in order for that product to suit them. So you have to design that. Then it's the tech of getting the landing page together, the tags for the emails. Then you've got the content based stuff, as well as recording the content, designing the content, all the topics, any workbooks, putting that onto something that works so they can actually watch it. Then the products to give me money in order for them to get access to it. Follow up, customer care afterwards. So it's not just a course, is it?
No, and it's just, the thing is there's like all these great little puzzle pieces that you need to all get together, and it gets to be really, really nerdy, which I
love,
secretly love. And can't believe I'm actually saying that out loud. That once it all comes together is like a beautiful thing, because you end up with like your people that actually love you and that are like, oh my gosh, Claire is just like, they can't get enough of you, and like whatever you put out, they'll be like, oh, she does this free things, and there's also this really neat little thing that she's doing, and then a great big day, weekend, Christmas party, which I know you've talked about, that everybody's gonna just want to be part in your circle, and all those puzzle pieces work together. I help you, my clients, to just take it all back and to work to the tiny little baby steps to get to that big Christmas party or whatever you're working towards. And a lot of creatives are just like, oh, but we should make this now, and we should make that now. I'm like, hang on a second, we're working towards a Christmas party, right? So we just need to get this landing page together first, and we need to like get people to know about you first. So like, just keep posting and stop looking at numbers, keep doing what you love, and then I put it all together for you in like a great big Christmas present.
I love that. And it's like, and I think whenever you're doing this, and I'm practiced now because I've done a few, but I've got my self-belief challenge coming up, which I think would have happened already when this episode comes out. But my self-belief challenge, I always have, or when I first did something similar, you always feel like you've forgotten something. So so there's like a part of your brain that's going, have I done everything? Have I? And it's only when there's something goes wrong, or someone asks a question, that you know what you've forgotten. With what you're offering is that you're like, you're not going to forget everything. We're going to have all of it covered. That must give your clients so much confidence when they're selling.
Yeah, and it does give them confidence. Like, Suze's got this bit under control, all the boxes that I want to tick, and I need to tick, but I don't even know what those boxes are. I say, oh, don't worry, that's there for you, or just send them this link and it's all in a list or whichever. I think about the things that you don't know you need to think about, really. I'd like to say that, and it's really, my favorite part is seeing people succeed. So whether you're in my circle as a client or just like as a friend or whatever, I'm just like your biggest fan, and I'm rooting for you all the time and thinking about the other things for you. It's my favorite thing to do, really. And I know that when I was doing my product-based business, I just always thought I wished I could clone myself, because I couldn't design and make at the same time as always promoting and selling. And there was just, the list was never ending. So I'm your clone. If I'm with you, I'm your clone. So you tell me what your goal is, and we're working towards that. And I'm also keeping you on the line to that baby steps first.
Love that. What are the things that you find most people forget to do, or don't get to, or don't see as a priority potentially?
People look at the numbers too much, I think, and
Do
they
you
forget.
mean numbers with social media?
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I don't have enough likes. I don't have, it's all just about, they're thinking about the vanity metrics and actually not remembering that, oh, but you did actually make a sale yesterday, or you made 10 sales yesterday, and you're not thinking about what's about that. Or and I also find there's too much squirreling,
Mm.
that that people are just going, actually, maybe I'll just try this. And I'm like, you haven't actually been consistent enough at this one thing yet to actually know for sure if it works. I think a lot of people are always looking at the get rich quick, or it's going to be, I'm going to be a millionaire by the end of the year or whichever. But actually, there's not enough people saying that it's really hard to be, it's a lot easier to just get a job. It is to
Very
just
much so, yeah.
turn up, do your 9 to 5, go home, get your paycheck at the end of the week. And I don't think enough people talk about that.
No, I worked this out. There's two things that I think make having a job so much easier than running a business. And before I say those two things, I think the element that we get to work the majority of the time when we want to. So I've just had 2 weeks off for Easter holidays with my son,
Yeah.
and I didn't have to ask anybody to take that time off. I had to keep battling with myself a lot, going, you should be back to work now, you should be doing this, you should be doing
Yeah.
that. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to, because he's 5 and these are precious years, so I'm just going to focus on him. And also the fact that I can work in the evenings if I want to pick him up from school and stuff like that, so that's
Yeah.
amazing that we can work when we want. And we also get to create what I'd love to see more business owners doing, is embodying the actual fact that we can create our life how we want, we can make money how we want, and we can make as much money as we want. There is no ceiling to that. So that's what I want to see more people doing. But the two reasons why it's so difficult: one, we are basically going for a job interview every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day you are putting yourself out there and asking for people to buy into your business and buy into you. And that's why people get jobs, because they're buying into you. And secondly, there's no guaranteed return on investment. So my husband has got an incredibly stressful job, and I do think he enjoys some of it, but there is an element where he gets a good wage and he's got a good amount of authority in what he's doing, and he's doing something good. And so that sort of outweighs the stress. But however stressful that job is, or however difficult, or if he's waking up one day not really feeling it or has a day off or something like that, he's still guaranteed a return on the investment of energy and time that he's put into that role. And we don't. And also, it's not the same every month.
Yeah.
And the same energy. Like, I think looking at a return on investment solely as money or vanity metrics, like you were saying, can actually be so destructive to our self-belief and our courage and how we move forward. That if you look at return on investment as, have I got more freedom to spend time with my children? Yes. Have I been able to have my lunch whenever I want? Have I been able to work in my pajamas if I want? Yes.
Yeah.
Have I been have I made an impact on people's lives that you can't measure? Yeah. So all of these things, that's your return investment. But you have to have the right mindset for that, don't you?
Yeah. That is really tough. And keeping really focused on these sort of goals and building the life that you want, rather than always money, because it isn't. My children are nearly 22, 19, and 11.
Wow.
And and so my 11-year-old is getting really spoiled now, because I just am like the time, I value that more. So when my older two were older, I was in the crafter making product for all the time. So it was great, but it was also really work intensive at the time, and that was what I really wanted to do. But now my goals have changed. And so it goes about like sort of personally, I'd rather help people now. And then also personally that I'd like to be home and choose my hours more. So
Mm,
that's more about building the life that I wanted rather than I could definitely go get a job, but I wouldn't feel as fulfilled.
mm. And I think and that's why it's not for everybody, isn't it? Because for you to be um create how did your product business start? Like, where was the creative inspiration? How did that start?
Well, that goes really way back because my grandma, she was always a maker. She made everything like crocheted and things like that. And then I learned how to sew from my auntie who I helped in COVID. I learned how to sew when I was about 7 years old and used to make things for my teddy and stuff like that. When I came to England, I had a really good job. I was a personal assistant for a head teacher. Um, and like I worked up the ladder for that, started out in admin and then worked up the ladder. And then I wanted to, when I had my son, I wanted to, be home with him all the time. And my husband is a farmer, like I said. So I thought I wanted my own money. I've always had my own money. And I wanted to be able to go back home more, like as much as I could, sort of thing, to Canada. So I thought I can't, and I'm not one to just sort of sit around. So I would make things and sell at just little craft fairs, and it just grew and grew. And how it got into wood was that in Canada, there's like these massive craft shops, like they're huge, and you could buy the wooden blanks. And I was just, when I got back to England, I was number one, limited by what you could get here. And number two, I was just I wanted to make it my own thing, like so I just started designing. And a scroll saw is very similar to a sewing machine. And the only thing is you're just pushing wood through a blade that goes up and down rather than a needle that is pushing. Yeah,
Ah,
so I taught myself how to do it. And it just grew from there. And my unique selling point was that I could personalize while you're waiting. That was before it was cool, to get everything personalized. So
mm.
people would queue up and I would write names on as they waited. And I just worked up the ladder, designing my own products like that and selling online and big fairs and stuff like that. So that's how it started. And it just grew like that, really.
And do you make any more? Is that side of the business not
I
happening
do.
anymore?
Yeah, I do. And I paint, but I only do it for people who know me or not know me, but people who ask,
Mm,
basically. I don't like to say no because I do really miss the crafting part of it. I started to make a few things for myself. I'm a bit like the plumber with the leaky tap, that like never made anything for myself. So
mm,
um but it doesn't pump me up as much as what I'm doing now. So
mm. Oh wow. And that's where well, and I'm just really interested because I've gone through this recently with Vivid Wire, where what was the point where you, and obviously with COVID you felt you started helping people, but what was the moment where you were like, I'm gonna go all in for this now?
okay, well, I was really brave. After COVID, I wanted to level up again. And I wanted to be making more things or just have like the next sort of revenue. And I found a company, a lady in America who is coaching people like me doing signs and painting and all sorts of things. So I went to a mastermind in America. It was really touch and go whether I could go because it was like because of COVID, basically.
Mm,
Um, I think it was in 2022. And it was amazing. I was really scared. I didn't know anyone. It was going to meet strangers on the internet, especially like saying like what I tell my kids all the time, don't do that. But I did. And we get like a sort of group one-to-one where they're like, okay, so what are you gonna do? And throughout, I was sort of like I think there was 12 of us there, and I was like maybe 10th to go. And throughout, we all got to sort of brainstorm and help each other out. And it was a really amazing experience. I met like amazing, amazing people. And whenever it came to with everyone else, I was great at like helping them to brainstorm, and we came up with like amazing ideas for their businesses. And they are all like, you know, six-figure income women, or businesses. So I was proud of myself for being able to sort of bring something to the table for them. And my coach came to me and she said, "So what about you?" And I said, "Well, this is where I fall short. I can't think about anything for myself." And she wanted to know my story. Like, it's a bit strange, you know, a Canadian living in the UK, and what are you doing in America for this and all of that. So I told her, and she said, "You're in the wrong place. You need to be helping people. You just really you light up more." And it was her that sort of pushed me into it. But she said, I don't know how to help you do that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. Um, but you need to be, you're wasted basically just making." So I sort of fumbled with that for a while. I felt a bit frustrated because I didn't really get what I'd gone there for, if you know what I mean. And I was interested as well. Um, and she just saw something in myself that I didn't see,
Mm.
which is what I do for my clients in a way. And then so I finished the year out. I had commitments with my product-based business. I finished that out. And then at the beginning of last year, I just said, right, I'm going to apply for the fairs that I normally do. Whenever you do the applications, you're never guaranteed a spot. And I had spots at places for 16, 17 years. And I sort of thought, if it's meant to be, I'll get in again. And if it's not, then I won't. You know, I sort of left it. I wasn't really fully committed, but fill in the applications as usual. And I didn't get in. So this is like a
Wow.
little bit woo woo, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But at the same time, I said, I'm going to start helping, start this new business, whatever it was called. Right. And you apply for these fairs like in January, but you don't find out until sort of Easter time and
Mm.
sometimes later. So that's what I did. And I thought, well, it'll be what it'll be. And I didn't get into any of the fairs that I applied for that year. And that was the first time in 17 years. So it was really strange.
Mm.
And then I worked with one of the girls from the mastermind and helped her with launching with her membership and nurturing and growing her audience. And we added quite considerable amount of revenue to her business and added new products and things like that and brainstormed it. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And on the back of end of last year, I just wanted to get the qualification under my belt. I think a lot of women um, were sort of afraid of just saying, well, I just kind of taught myself.
Mm.
But we don't feel like we have the credibility. And I did a course, a digital marketing course, and in December, basically all of December, I sort of just hashed it out. But all the course did was tell me that I knew exactly what I was talking about. And
Brilliant.
it just gave me yeah, oh, I know what that is. And I just checked the boxes really. So yeah, was that too much? I wasn't sure. What was the question again?
I can't remember. I was loving that. No, oh, that was it. The brave action. I think when you
Yeah.
go, and I haven't spoken to many people that have been in the same situation with me as
Uh,
going from product based to online service based, and I felt like I was neglecting a child. I don't know. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I suppose, but I had another product based business called Violet and May, and when that sort of, I suppose it died out. I suppose it did die. I had invested so much time in it, and it had been born from such an obsession with um just making. I used to make these flowers out of ribbon, and I would put them on everything, but to the point where they went on shoes. Beyonce wore a pair of shoes with the roses on. They were on wedding
uh,
accessories. I made bouquets for my own wedding. So they it went everywhere. And I remember the moment where I was in a job It was very toxic. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to become self-employed. It was amazing. I'm the freedom, but I had no idea. This was before Instagram, and I just had a Facebook page and I had a website, but I didn't understand SEO. I didn't understand marketing. I literally just went up and down high streets going, do you want to do sale and return? I did markets, I did wedding fairs every weekend, just out there all of the time. But because there was I didn't know what I was doing, and there wasn't the same kind of help out there now.
Yeah.
I just thought, okay, well, this job isn't what I went back into employment because I couldn't pay my mortgage. And I thought, okay, again, easy route. It was so much easier to get a job then. Got a job, went into education, became a teacher. When you're teacher training, there was no time to make anything. I was literally just the most tired. I was more tired doing that than I was having a newborn. Went into that. And then when I had my son, I had this flurry of, oh my God, I want to make again. Like it was just so overwhelming, that need to make. He was 3 months old, and I remember I'd gone back and I think I was doing some tutoring. So I always loved making money. So I was like, well, I'll do some maths tutoring in the background, while I'm on maternity. And then there was just this like hunger of, I need to make something. I have to make something now. Whereas with Violet May, because I'd had this new career, it was just so much easier for it to just, oh, I don't really do that anymore. It wasn't a big thing. But with Vivid Wire, once I'd started that and went self-employed, we had a bigger house. Well, I wasn't even with my husband when I was doing Violet and May. I had a husband, I had a son, I had a bigger, much bigger mortgage, and I was the breadwinner at the time. I had to make money. So Vivid Wire it flips everything, because it became everything. It had to be everything so it could give us the money. And then slowly, just like you, slowly I was just started to help people. And then the coaching and the membership started. And then there was this moment last year where I had a really successful Christmas in Vivid Wire, the most successful Christmas I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I was just looking, thinking, but I'd also had the most successful month in the other side of the business. So the business was just brilliant.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do the Vivid Wire, because I was just like, there was just like a light switch went off. And I felt so sad, but also necessary. That feeling. And then when I said, okay, because I had another membership in the Vivid Wire, I was teaching Vivid Wire art. And I was just like, okay, I can't do that anymore. And obviously saying no to regular income is, again, you've got to be brave with that, but put that down. And then just slowly, I just haven't said it publicly yet on my Instagram on Vivid Wire, which I need to do, really. But that moment where you go, okay, I have made up my mind. It's just like a whoosh feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. I haven't said it publicly either.
Oh, you haven't?
Nope.
There you go. So we're just sort of, because I think I've got a huge commission this week, actually. It's massive. And it's been in the works since late November, early December, and just the designs have just been signed off. And it's like, well, I really wanted to do it, so I'm gonna do it, and I'm getting paid really well for it. So for that kind of work, happy to do Vivid Wire. But then I don't want to be doing the little things, like
that's the same as what I'm.
I say it out loud. I feel so bad for Vivid Wire. It's like, oh my God, my baby, but
I love you.
I do, yeah.
It's really hard because it is a little baby. Like, our businesses are so much, we pour so much into them, like a baby. I'm not the first person to say that, but it is definitely so much part of our family, our life, our day-to-day. I don't believe in the sort of work-life balance. It's all just like life. It's all together. I talk about that regularly with the people that say, I think I should just quit. This didn't go well, or this. And I said, but that's like the first time you put it out there and it didn't, I don't know what you were expecting, like things like that. So it is, I haven't met a businesswoman who hasn't been completely passionate about their business baby.
Yeah. And and I feel again, you've been in the game for a while, and
Yeah.
definitely, I've 5 years I've had Vivid Wire. But then obviously Violet and May, I had 4 years before that. How different in the last decade alone it is selling things now. And it used to be so easy to put one single photo on Instagram that would of your product
Yeah.
that would then people would buy almost instantly if they could, and you would get the likes and you would get the shares and you'd get the following and everything. And remember when you had to have 10,000 followers
Yeah.
to get the like swipe up link?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I want 10,000 followers for Claire Hill because I can then create I forgot, a channel on Instagram. You can't
Yeah.
create a channel until you've got 10,000 followers now, which is annoying. But anyway, but
Yeah.
how different it was then. And then COVID, and obviously COVID was for any business before, and I don't know about you, but COVID was brilliant for the business, not for
Yeah.
anything else.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Insane. Everybody, you get so much money, but so many businesses were born in COVID
Yeah.
that there wasn't, I don't feel like there was enough. And I'm really sorry if this is you and you're listening, but the resilience that you build in a business selling outside of a pandemic is like nothing else, isn't it? It's like, you put it, being the face, being out there, doing the markets, the sales on, and like begging for people to stock your products, and
Yeah.
then the online stuff and everything. And then COVID happened and it just
Yeah.
felt like, whoa, this
This
is
is it.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
any businesses that were born in that, when everything started to quieten up, I was just like, oh, well, that's over. I'll
Yeah.
go back. It's just going to go back to what it was
Yeah. Me
before.
too.
But
Yeah.
for some people, then they were like, oh my God, I'm failing. It's like, oh, no, 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 this
This
is
is
what it
normal.
was. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
normal.
So like the statistics now is that people need to see your face or your product 7 to 21 times now before they actually buy. And like, let's just say it is bottom line 21 times. I don't know the last time I saw anything 21 times,
Mm.
you
But I
know?
suppose it's like subliminal that, like
Yeah.
podcast, having your message on podcasts, on those ads that you barely see.
Yeah.
That's obviously people do ads as well, like the stories, the posts, the reels.
Yeah.
This is why we have to be consistent, isn't it?
And people, you think you're being consistent, but actually, if you only have 100, this is the way the algorithms, like really nerdy now, Claire, but
Oh, I
the
love
way
it.
the algorithms work is that if you have only 100 followers, it's only going to maybe be seen by 10 of those people. And if 10 of those people are actually your friends and family because they're like, well, I want to support you and whatnot, and they don't press the like button or they don't swipe when you do the Instagram, what do you think of this? And slide it along or comment or share or save, or if they don't do any of those things and they're all just your family, then Instagram will think that you're not interesting and they're not going to put it out to the next 10.
Mm,
So if only one of those 10 people do that, then you might be lucky and they put it out to another 10. But if not, then you're not getting seen. And that's then your 21 times is not going to work for that post. So the thing of it is you have to keep talking about your stuff. You have to keep talking about you. And we all hate talking about ourselves, right? So,
mm,
um, we think we're boring or whichever. I think that about myself. It's difficult, but what do we want more? Do we want that big, fat, hairy dream that we keep talking about, where we get to have lunch with our kids when we want to, or have 2 weeks off for Easter, or do we want, to go to work at Tesco's? Or nothing against working for Tesco's. I'm not meaning that, but I just
mm.
mean you have a choice.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's where I inside the membership in the Vivid Business Club, I say you've got to keep talking about your products until you're sick in your mouth. You just
Yeah.
got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I think that repetition, I'm actually filming a reel today about the with an elastic band and a pencil. And my son did it once. He went, oh, look, if I keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and then let go, it goes really fast. And I was like, God, that's like creating content. You just got to keep spinning, thinking that just turning it one more time, just show up again. And then all of a sudden it's bang. There was something I said to myself, because leading back to, we were talking about how things have changed in online selling and selling full stop in a business, is how there used to be so many more prepared pullers where people would go, oh, I really want that just in case. So I've got a VIP mastermind coming up again. When this episode comes out, I think it would have already happened. And the applications close in like 2 days, 2.5 days. And before I've sold this, so literally 2 years ago, something I've sold similar, I would say out loud, this is what I'm doing. And I would sell 3 spaces from one story. I'm so good at selling on stories. But where I feel people have adapted or changed their buying habits or their, I suppose it's buying habits and psychology. It's nothing against me. It's just how people's behaviors have changed. Now they don't buy like that.
No.
And they wait until the last moment to make sure they've made the right decision in putting that in. But so many people are still in that prepared puller mindset. Oh, if people haven't bought it straight away, that means it's a failure. No, you've got to have that resilience. And this is what keeps people in business. This is the thing, going, no, because the selling period is this much. This is your launch phase. You've got to sell from beginning to end consistently. And you may that selling period does not mean buying period. The buying period might be right at the end, right in the last hour.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to make it into sort of a physical thing, at craft fairs, people are acting differently as well. So they're like, people arrive, they have like a good once round. You never, very rarely, if you sell things in the morning, you're lucky. But people just have a walk around. They look, they might talk to you, they might not. They might be too far away to have a conversation from your stall. And if they're really interested, they'll come and have a good look around, and you could have a chat to them, and they say, well, we'll have a think about it. And you just do all of your sales at the end because they want to go have a coffee and a cake, the atmosphere of the event, whatnot. And then they may go back and buy the things that they sort of had mentally in their list. Food does generally sell a bit quicker, but that is almost the same as how it is online, because they maybe, if you're lucky and they click save, they might come back to you. But if they don't click save, they think, oh, I saw that thing that I really liked, that painting or that course or the workshop or whatever. If they thought about clicking save, then they might come back. If they didn't, they hope you're going to come up in their newsfeed again. But if you don't keep showing up, then they will forget about you because they may not have clicked save. You may have not said call to action, click save, this post, DM me, whichever, so it's almost the same in both camps, in real life and online now.
It's phenomenal as well. And I think that's where mindset, that support and being on top of your mindset and stuff, because in with my clients and in the membership, it's very much that if there is no action on something, therefore equals inadequacy, equals shit product, when that is so far from the truth. And there was something that in my mastermind, there was somebody talking about they run a membership. So in a mastermind for membership owners, and they were saying that they've measured the buy-in. They work with big organizations and in banking and finance. And they said it can take 15 months from when people hit their mailing list to them joining their membership. And because they've done the analytics and understand that, they know how long that window is. Well, obviously, I mean, it's obviously a lot more money. But they understand that. They understand that whole process. But what if you're from somebody hitting your mailing list or becoming a follower, you knew it was going to take 2 months for them to make a purchase. Every day you're showing up, aren't you? Because then you know, what if we just embody that and go, oh, it actually, for when people hit my, because I know one person who joined my membership, and she joined and then went. She just did a little trial, free trial. Took her another year before she was ready. So now when people come into my world, I'm like, it might take you a year to get into my bank, but I'm here. I'm still going to put it out there. And it's just about this consistency, layer. But if you don't understand that or know that happens, you just think you're a bag of shit, don't you?
Yeah. You do. And if you don't, so we talked about like the pieces of the puzzle as a sort of entrepreneur earlier. There's loads of little pieces of that for you as a business, of like getting the launch right and the emails and the landing pages and all of those things. And then there's also the pieces of the puzzle as used just like an entrepreneur, whereas there's the resistance, bravery, another piece of puzzle there. That's the bravery. Then there's the community. And then the business part. If you don't have all those other bits, if you're not going to be resilient, if you're not going to be brave and get yourself into community, if you're not brave within that community, and have the guts to say, look, I did this thing and put it out there and it didn't sell, then you don't open yourself up for the chance for other people to say, you know what, that happened to me too, but I didn't want people to think I was a failure.
Yeah.
Oh, and a lot of what's kept me in business is that I started to be brave. I did that thing. I went to America. That was really scary to go to America.
I bet it was.
With these women that were majorly successful, way more successful than I am. Craft is more regarded in America, I think. So, anyway, that is what's got me going again, if you know what I mean, being more in a community, seeking out people like yourself, and listening to people who are brave enough to say, yeah, me too. Like that was really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too, all the time.
Yeah.
I was so like, I think that's what's key to sharing stories. Like I 100% everything that I preach and talk about, not preach, but yeah, I suppose teach, preach, I embody myself. And there are some days where I record a podcast episode, a solo one, that I have needed, and I will go back and listen to my own voice because it's not me in that moment. Because in those moments, I'm on the ground and I'm full of doubt and imposter syndrome. And also the biggest thing that I've learned is just to feel the feeling. So even if I feel really rubbish, I just let myself feel it, even if I cry, even if I feel rubbish, because it's all a phase. This is why I've had this wave painted in my office. Well, I say I painted this wave because my husband, I'm all about doing more unfamiliar things to get out of my comfort zone. And even though I am artistic and creative, drawing and painting is not my forte. So, but my husband, he's amazing at all of that. So I was like, I had it in my head. I was like, paint this wave, and I wanted animal print on it because I love it. And he kept coming down and saying, "Well, are you sure you don't want me to do it?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to do it." But the first one I did, so it's actually being corrected. He said, "Oh, you've it's not an organic wave. It doesn't look right. I knew that you'd go. Well, you didn't. It wasn't critical. It was like you've gone up and down in a weird way." I said, "No. That's the business owner wave, where you go up and then you dip down and then you go up, and it's such a different set of tools and mindset to get you to the next cliff face." So it's like the wave starts right down here and goes all the way up to there. And it's like, well, I know that some days I'm in the dip. I'm in the dip where it's like, God, I was doing so well and now I feel like rubbish again. Got to climb back up. But we're always on the up. As long as we know that we're, and having people like you, the services that you provide, if you're truly creative and you're on a mission, you haven't got all of the time to make sure you've got all of the pieces of the puzzle, do you? No. It's not what is it? It's not the how, it's the who that gets you to where you want to be.
Yeah. And also sometimes we just can't see the wood for the trees, really, because you know, if, you know, some people that I speak to, one of my clients, it was 4 years it took me to convince her to open a membership for her business.
Wow.
She
What held up? Why did she hold off doing it?
just couldn't see that it was that type of business. She provides health and safety audits for people in the oil and gas industry. And I said, this is a perfect membership model. And she was like, I don't really understand where you're going with this. And we talked about it so much. And she's launching it this year.
Wow.
But it's 4 years for me to to convince her and to teach her how to do it and to talk over and over. And I said, well, you just do this. And don't forget, you need to collect those emails as you go. And you're providing an ongoing service to the people. That's something that they need regularly.
Yeah.
So, um, so like 15 months, 4 years, whichever, I believed in her business so much, you see. And I understood the how part, the tech part of what to do. And also going back to our sort of personalities, she's one of these people that has to have like all of her ducks completely in a row before she could even press go, you know, like the whole course created. Whereas I'm a little bit more scrappy and I would like, well, let's just throw it out there and see if people like what I'm doing. And just have a chance. I have to, if I think about things for too long, I won't act on it really.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Different, right?
I'm done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Need
Yeah.
to get it out there.
Yeah.
Honestly, so this has been really lush. I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your bravery and showing up in how I just think like if you hadn't been accepted to those markets, but you didn't have your other business, what would you have done?
I don't know. I think I probably would have gone back to it. I don't.
Mm,
So as I said in the beginning, I'm Canadian. And there's a famous Canadian, Wayne Gretzky, he's a hockey player. He says that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And
yeah.
for quite a few years, I have lived my life that way. Like I was scared, so scared to go to those big craft fairs. I thought that my product was maybe I had like total imposter syndrome. I thought my product wasn't good enough, even though I designed everything, you know, and made everything from beginning scratch from like a big piece of wood. Um, I thought that once I got accepted, I thought, oh, people are not gonna like my things there and stuff like that. But if I hadn't put my hand at my application in, they would have never known about me. And that's how, you know, I've lived now for the last, I don't know, 10 years, I guess. And
Mm,
the amount of people have said, oh, I could never do that. I could do that. Well, you don't know actually. You don't know
yeah.
what you could do.
Oh, I love that. Love that, Suze. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Well,
Um,
thank you for
uh,
having me.
oh, you're very welcome. I ask everybody the last question about and I've seen on my notes, I've been so organized today that I've printed out your notes. You've got 3 things that you wish you'd known 10 years ago. Do you remember all 3?
No,
I
maybe I wrote it all.
love this. The first one, I'd get into community more. It's really hard working from home.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, that's why I created the Vivid Business Club,
Yeah.
because that's what it is. You know, we have a warrior work like a co-working space. They all hang out in there all day.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be seeing me there soon, Claire.
Oh, good. That's lush. I was going to say when we stop recording, do you want to come in? Um, Ask for help more often. And you've said this is something that I'm still working on, isn't it? Asking
Yeah.
for help. Why do we think it is a weakness to ask for help?
I don't know. It's always been my last resort, absolute last resort with whether it's been like with managing the kids, the like life on the farm and stuff. Um, it's always, and then with my business as well, always been my last resort asking for help. But I've been trying the last couple of years to ask for help first.
Have
People really
you?
kind.
Yeah, yeah. And people love it, helps people out when you ask for help. It gives them purpose and empowerment. Do you know about superhero imposter syndrome?
No.
Okay, I think that there are 5 different types of imposter syndrome, and one of
Right.
them is superhero, where you believe that you should be able to do everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you sabotage yourself by not asking for help. And the third thing you said is take more chances. You only have one life. It.
Yeah. That is true as well, which is actually why I filled in the application to come and meet you. So that was a chance.
I love it.
I'm so glad I did now.
Yeah, and you've done, and I must say that going on, I've been in that position where I did my first podcast interview, and I remember I was shaking, and I definitely messed up my words. You can go and listen to it. It's on I've forgotten the name of the podcast, Emma Isaac's podcast, The Creative Way. There we go.
Okay.
But it was it was so good at the end. It was brilliant, but oh my goodness. What I remember my first live on Instagram, and
Yeah.
again, that's on Vivid Wire. And literally, I'm like taking deep. I didn't realize it started recording straight away. So I'm like that. Oh my God, I'm live. Okay. Oh my God. All right. Is anyone coming? I don't know. And I'm
Yeah.
talking to myself at the beginning of it. It's hilarious. But again, then it becomes, practice makes progress, and then it just becomes
Well,
the norm.
yeah. I mean, I remember I used to go live a lot with my crafting business. And the thing of it that I didn't realize that you can learn that skill.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people have said to me, well, I couldn't do that. And I couldn't even just like show the camera of my face now and things like that. And I said, well, I couldn't before, but you learn it. And I think if you're open to learning and like asking people how they did that, then that's the whole sort of back to the asking for help thing
Yeah.
is you can learn whatever you want to do. Anything. You can learn how to skydive, figure skate, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you can literally do anything you put your mind to. I put a
I
post
used
on
to
my.
be a figure skating coach, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. In the olden days.
Oh wow, I
Mm.
love that. I really like it ice skating. Once I go and I've got my feet to get, we've literally got a skating rink like 5 minutes away from me.
Oh no, I'm so jealous. Where do
Yeah,
you live?
we live in Kent. We're very lucky actually. We've got a ski centre, tobogganing, ice skating rink, like literally 5 minutes away. Very
Oh,
lucky. Yeah. If I feel like I should have been born Canadian.
yeah.
Like I
You
feel
can be
like
honorary Canadian
honorary, yeah.
and
I,
teach you our ways.
but I've never even been there. But anybody that says they're from Canada, I feel like I'm like, oh no, I don't. I just feel like I just know it. It's ridiculous, really. Where can people find you, Suze?
Yeah, so I'm at creative solutions _ Suze on Instagram.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Loved it. Right, fake goodbye now. Thank you, Suze. See you later.